We're live. Scott, thanks for coming on, man. It's an honor to have you. You know, I know we've worked together in the past in 2022 and always just been fans of each other. And I really just enjoy your work. And, you know, it's been a while since we caught up. So I was like, shoot, we might as well do it on a podcast. So here we are. Yeah.
Likewise, man. I appreciate it, man. Obviously, like you said, had the good fortune of working side by side and, you know, been following your work for a shoot. I mean, the first time we met was 2012.
2012. So that's right.
That's Sparta.
That's right. Sparta. Sparta is funny because I just had Brian Buck on here.
I know. I listened. Yeah.
It's crazy. And you know what? I found Sparta like randomly. Like I was in the Bay. I was playing club rugby for East Palo Alto. Shout out the East Palo Alto team. And I was like looking for a place to train. So I Googled training facilities and Sparta popped up and I just randomly walked in, which is crazy. Yeah. And then here, 14 years later?
Yeah,
like,
man. Here we are.
Look at all the people that came out of there. It's crazy.
Here we are, bro. Yeah, man. That place, dude, to this day, and Brian Buck and I were talking about it, like some of the stuff that like we were into and we were doing back then, like still holds so much value, you know, to this day.
It's almost coming back to that, right? It's coming back to some of that original stuff Phil wrote on that whiteboard in his office, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Wild.
Yeah. The infamous whiteboard. Yeah.
Infamous whiteboard. So this is going to be a dope episode because I want to dive into Combine. And I want to dive because we're both getting geared up for Combine.
Yep.
How many guys you got?
We'll have between 50 and 55. Yeah. At my location. Yeah. In Plano, Texas.
Yeah. And EXOS is a beast, man. It's incredible the work that the system has produced year after year, including a record. You know, we'll have 45 this year. And we probably would have had this convo offline regardless, just to like compare notes, but here we are. So let's dive in. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So first thing is, I know EXOS is across multiple facilities, you know, great brand. You guys do an incredible job. Tell me about your journey, like just with EXOS, like when you started, you know, how you got to be leading everything now.
Yeah, so actually, I've been with EXOS just a little over a year. So this is my second Combine with EXOS. And how I ended up at EXOS. So Brent Calloway, obviously, you know,
shout out Brent
in the field. Yeah, I mean, awesome coach, awesome dude. I had known him for a long time, probably all the way back since I was at Cal. You know, probably 10 plus years ago. And obviously, every year we'd send guys to EXOS. You know, and I mean, you know, you get guys all over the map in terms of their knowledge of speed and familiarity with the drills and movements and stuff like that. And, you know, he would typically, you know, reach out and be like, you know, thanks for sending me such and such. You know, he knew how to carry himself, knew his way around the drills and moved well and all that. So we just developed a mutual respect. And then, you know, obviously he's with the Miami Dolphins now. So I think he kind of realized that he was ready for the next chapter and was looking for, you know, somebody that he could bring in and kind of groom to take his spot when he eventually rode off into the sunset. And so about a little over a year ago, we made it happen. So here I am.
So this will be your first year just leading it at EXOS, right?
At EXOS, correct. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So how do you manage? You got 50 guys. I'm actually asking you for advice because the last group that I did that was this big was with you. And we had a lot of guys. Plus I had that year I had Texas. We had, 26. And then I had LA and I had Orange County. And I don't know if you remember, but I went to all three every week.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I do remember. Yeah.
I would fly on Thursday to LA. And then I would do the LA group, drive down to OC, and then go back to my house, which I was Airbnb-ing out, and then fly back every single week for 8-10 weeks.
Grind, man. If you look at that people we had helping us though, like, dude, that was like an all-star squad.
It was.
You know, in terms of like Ryan Grubbs, Kyle Salmons, you know, guys that are like, you know, sharp dudes. I recently saw Kyle when the Cardinals were in town. to play the Cowboys, and we met up and talked shop. And I thought I was smart until I got down the rabbit hole with him.
Oh yeah, I cut the conversation off pretty quickly. Just say, Kyle, let's just talk about like our families or something, because
yeah, dude,
I just feel stupid talking to you. Yeah, he's incredible. I got to get him on here, but he won't text me back. No, he does, but
yeah. So back to your question, how we manage that size. I mean, first of all, we break it up into multiple smaller groups. Yeah. So we'll have four smaller groups by position. So it'll be about 12 to 14 guys in a smaller group. And we typically have speed in the morning and then lift in the afternoon, and they stay in their groups. So it's four runs in the morning and then 4 lifts in the afternoon. So last year, Brent led the speed portion and I assisted him, and then I led the lift portion in the afternoon. And now this year I'll lead the speed portion, and I still plan on being involved heavily in the lifting as well, because I feel like that's another piece that's important and that I'm into. And we have another coach named Jimmy Ohm. I don't know if you're familiar with EXOS guy. He was in Arizona, but outstanding coach as well. So he'll be right there by my side, and we'll be getting it. So
nice. Okay, and then you guys run on the hour. Every hour a group comes in, hour and a half.
Every hour on the hour. Yeah.
Nice.
But guys will come in, 15 to 20 minutes before that and do their pillar prep, their soft tissue, their activation, stuff like that. And then when I get them, it's into the movement prep, dynamic warm up, if you will. And then we roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we go 6 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 4 of those days are speed, and 2 of those days are change of direction.
Love it. So your speed is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday?
Correct. Yeah. And Saturday is literally just starts.
Yeah.
Because what was happening was Saturday used to just be like a
upper body
shakeout regen type session.
Yeah.
But like so many dudes were asking us like, hey, can I go outside and rip off a couple starts and you'll watch me? And it ended up being that was the majority of the guys were wanting to do that. So I was like, well, this year, let's just program it that way, call it what it is, and say, okay, Saturday, we're going to rip off some starts, 3 steps, stance, heavy, film it, and, only worry about that and call it what it is. So yeah, Saturday is purely starts, but the other 3 days are speed. Wednesday's max V. Friday is short acceleration.
Yeah.
Because usually by the end of the week, they're obviously pretty cooked, but Friday's a good day for heavy resistance on the 1080. And I'm sure we'll go down that rabbit hole, right? But heavy 1080, short excel, and then Monday is the longer excel day.
Okay. Walk me through what a Monday looks like.
Yeah, so Monday would be like a transition day. Obviously, we're going to warm up. We're going to do probably the same technique drills that everybody does. The big thing for me is the 1080. We'll use it on every day.
You guys got one now?
We have 2 of them. Yeah.
There you go. Shout out 1080.
Well, actually, to be correct, so Lucy has 2 of them.
Yeah, shout out Lucy.
So, but obviously, she's an incredible help to me, dialing in the numbers and all that, and making the whole thing go. But we'll do 1080. That'll be a 20 to 30 VDEC day on Monday, and a little bit longer excel, maybe 20 yards or so.
Yeah,
20 to 30. And then Wednesday will be a max V day. That's where we'll do. If we're doing 1080, it'll be 10% VDEC, but that's where we'll do our wickets, our flying sprints, things of that nature. Like I said, Friday is 50% plus VDEC.
Yeah.
And shorter excels, 10, 15 yards to 20 yards. And then Saturdays purely starts.
Nice. I love that. And
now the volume, it sounds like a lot, but the volume is really low. And that's what people need to understand. Like when I say we're doing all that, we're not doing like 8 reps of each of those things. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Literally 2 reps, maybe 3 reps all out. And that's it. Right now, obviously we're jumping and we're drilling and things of that nature, but those are the 2 big rocks. And, you know, yeah, it's very low volume, but very high intensity. And the biggest thing for me, it's been a game changer, is we will track their PRs at each VDEC. And then every time they come out, they try to beat that. You know, and that's been a big thing, because what I always say is you're not always going to PR on the laser, right? Like, I mean, like you talk about the valley, right? Like you're not always going to PR on the laser, but typically through effort, you can PR on the 1080 almost every time, you know, and I don't, you know, I don't get any kickbacks from 1080. Hopefully I will after this podcast, but,
shoot, me either. Come on. No, just
but you can usually PR on the 1080. So, Lucy and her team will, run those numbers for me. And, not only obviously we'll have individualized VDECs for each guy, but also what they've hit at that VDEC. And I'll say, all right, Les, you know, you're at 15 kilos and I need you to run, you know, 15 miles an hour or whatever it is. And then when you do, we'll bump it up. We'll raise your goal. And then before you know it, after 4 weeks, you know, you're over a mile an hour faster at that, you know, at that resistance.
Right. 100%. we're going to go back to VDEC. I have an order in my brain and I didn't tell you it, but here it is. So I want to go through profiling. Okay.
Yep.
Then I want to go through how you adjust profiles based on what you see. So the first question is, like, you get a guy coming from University of Alabama. It's January 21st. When do you test him?
Yeah. So, assuming health.
Just say they're clear.
They're healthy. Yeah. I mean, so as a company, our policy is to get a preliminary 40 on these guys. I think mainly so that they can, you know, say, well, we improved by this much time on average, right?
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was 0.27 or something like that, over the course of the program. But, you know, if a guy's not healthy, he's not going to do that. And that late in the game, you know, January 21st, he's not going to do a 40, but if he's healthy, he'll profile, you know, because
let's say it's January 8th. You do a 40. You do, what day is that?
January 8th. I would probably only 40 guys that showed up like day one. Okay. And day one for us is January 2nd.
Okay.
And that's our company protocol. But obviously, if a guy is not healthy or a guy is not capable, then obviously you're not going to force him to do it. But we'll profile whenever they come in, because for me, the resisted running is safer than free sprinting.
Right.
Like, guys don't, knock on wood, right? But like, guys aren't getting hurt against load. They're getting hurt, you know, maximal velocity or, you know, unresisted sprinting. So I'm not nervous. I don't have a problem profiling guys, is assuming health, you know, and obviously they get a PT eval. You know, Savannah's our PT. She does a great job. She's going to take a look at him and give me the green light before I would just, no, man, he's going to profile. But if given the opportunity,
is that day one though? Like, is that like the first day? The
first thing they'll do is get a PT eval. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our intake process, like, I'm like bullish and obsessed with our intake process. Like, I won't touch a dude until he goes through the intake process.
Right.
Because that's what I hang my hat on is, number one, that's going to dictate the programming. But number two, I don't want any surprises. Right. Like, so they'll come in, the first thing they'll do is get on a table, and do their PT eval. They will also, after that, jump on a force plate. And we were valved. We moved to Hawken recently. So, obviously I talked to Brian Buck quite a bit. So jump on a force plate. They'll do a LVP on the Kaiser squat, which is big for me as well, because that dictates a lot of the weight room loading. As far as, do you need to lift heavy? Do you not need to lift heavy? Do you need to lift at, loads that maximize power? Do you need, what strength quality do you need emphasized in the weight room? Obviously, we're not going to put all our eggs in one basket. You're going to get a comprehensive program, but what do you need emphasized? And also, obviously, they'll profile on the 1080. And between all of those, that will affect the programming. And honestly, in like very simple ways, that is not very, it seems intimidating, but it's honestly so simple. So like, depending on how your LVP is on the air squat and how you jump on the force plate, it might just affect the load that you have to lift and the manner that you execute it. Right. So like you might have to just have an ISO hold at some point during the movement, because I that's what you need to work on. And I might need to, fast eccentric and try to change direction at the bottom, because that's what I need to work on. And we both have different loads. And that's like so simple to implement. It's a ton of work on the front end, but in practice, a lot less intimidating than it would seem. And a lot of people, think like, oh my God, like there's all these metrics and we got 50 different things going on, but it can be that simple,
Yeah. All right. We got to take a second to talk about the universal speed rating, because I literally just found this out and it blew my mind. We just hit over 500,000 verified speed tests inside the USR software. 500,000. That's coaches all over the country testing, tracking, and proving athlete progress with this system. It's not just data. It's giving athletes confidence and giving coaches real proof of results. I remember running our first Speed Lab test back in 2019 in a closet that my uncle helped me build, now 500,000. If you're not testing speed yet, or you're doing it without a system, this is your chance to check it out. Hit the link in the description, book a free consult, and see how the USR could work in your program. I love that. Okay. And then, so you got your PT eval, table, force plate, LVP on Kaiser, go out to the field. You're collecting, what does your profile look like on the field?
So we go 3 kilos at 30 yards. We go 5 kilos at 25, 10 kilos at 20, and 20 kilos at 15.
You said 3, 5, what?
3, 5, 10, 20.
Nice. Okay. And you guys have the 2, right? The 1080 sprint 2?
Yeah, the small one. Yeah, it's not like not like the old days where CC had to like drag that thing over and you had to find something to hook it up to, right?
Man, wow, that was a grind. A grind.
Now you just put 2 or 3 plates on there and you're good to go.
And for so you do your 3 kg at 30, which gives you your force velocity.
Yeah.
Are you also getting split times on that, or do you do that in a separate run without any 1080?
We get split times as well from that, but we would typically look at splits unresisted. Because even with 3 kilos, it's going to give you a max velocity that's probably not 100%, in fact, it's not 100% accurate. So we would look at time splits from unresisted sprinting.
Nice. Okay. And would you do your like 40 on that day? You do the LVP?
No, the LVP would be on the first day of training as opposed to the intake day.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's dope. Okay. So then you got your structural profile, you got your physical profile, like weight room stuff, and then you got like their speed profile. And then obviously you got 50 dudes. So what do you do? I got these dudes over here that are suck at this and great at this.
So
like,
how does it, so Great question. So basically what changes, right? What changes? Because I'm always like, you can gather a bunch of data, but if you don't change anything, like then all you did was gather data and look cool. So what changes?
Right.
Awesome question. So based off of their PT eval, and last year we did what's called DARI.
Yeah, I love DARI.
Yeah, I think we're still deciding if that's going to be mandatory this year or only certain guys, but it gives you similar information as the PT eval, except the PT eval's on the table, right? It's safe. I always tell people if it shows up in the PT eval, it's darn sure going to show up when you're running 20 miles an hour, right?
Right.
And then the DARI is just a step up from that because you're actually moving around, you're lunging, you're squatting, like, but you're looking for the same things, right? Ankle mobility, hip external rotation, things of that nature. But still very foundational, fundamental things. That's going to affect what we call their pillar prep. So basically their soft tissue, their mobility, and their stability.
Yeah.
Work prior to the session and sometimes supersetted or mixed into the session. That's what that'll affect that. Their force plate testing will affect several things. Number one, it will affect the manner in which they perform some of their strength exercises, specifically their Kaiser squatting. Like I said, some guys will have, non-counter movement off of the safety rack. Some guys will have controlled eccentric with the ISO. Some guys will have fast eccentric with the ISO. Some guys will have a drop catch. Some guys will have continuous, 3 reps in 3 seconds. It just depends on what I'm trying to tease out of their stretch shortening cycle based off of their strengths and weaknesses on the force plate. Also, we identify asymmetries. So if a guy is asymmetrical, obviously he'll do more single leg work than somebody who is symmetrical. It also affects the way their initiation of plyos, right? So like if you have
counter movement versus non-counter movement. Yep.
Yeah. Or continuous double contact. If you're poor RSI, but good jump height, then I know that your outcome or output is high, but you're not very reactive. So we're going to do stuff that has an initiation that tries to tease out you being a little quicker off the ground, springier, a little more elastic, and vice versa. If you're elastic, but you don't jump very high, well, then we're going to do things that focus more on height, distance, all out, get up, maximize that component as opposed to just recycling elastic energy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Those are the main things that come from the force plate. And then, like I said, when we get to the Kaiser squat, loading parameters, right? So we'll do an LVP. We'll get what's called your OPR, which is the load that you produce maximal power at. So what I do then is I look at that and you're either too slow, just right, or too fast. If it occurs too low, like myself, like I'm too slow, my OPR is too slow, big time history of lifting heavy weights.
You can tell. Look at you.
Now, yeah. Well, luckily it's just from here up because I'm big bench girl now. Yeah. But guys that come from, you brought up, guys that come from different programs. If you were at a program where you have to squat 600 pounds, like at all costs, those guys will typically test too slow, meaning that their highest power output is at a velocity that's suboptimal. So those guys will train fast. They're strong, right? Do I really think that making you squat 605 is going to help? No, right? But I'm going to have you train at, again, we have that OPR number. I don't even look at 1RMs. I look at the OPR. I look at, all right, maximal power output. You'll train below that and try to move it faster, right?
And are you doing that once a week, twice a week, like max speed days?
yeah, so we will Kaiser squat twice a week, one day double leg and one day single leg.
Yeah.
Unless you're asymmetrical. And my cutoff for asymmetrical is typically 15% or more asymmetry.
Yeah.
You would potentially do single leg on both days.
Yeah. I like that.
And again, like your single leg might be different from my single leg. You know, you might be doing a drop catch, a single leg squat, you know, on the Kaiser, and I might be doing, you know, continuous, or I might be break pause at the bottom, whatever it may be. So they're still performing it differently, but yeah, it's either 2-to-1 or single on both days.
And do you do those on one day on, I'm assuming you do bilateral or unilateral on the max V day, or how do you
so
split
on the
those?
max V day, we actually don't lift. We have a regen session.
Got it. Okay.
Because we've got our big acceleration day on Monday.
Yeah.
And then we've got max V on Wednesday morning. So by that point, you know, they're pretty cooked. We'll come back and just do regen that afternoon. Regen recovery, active recovery, and won't lift.
Yeah.
So then we'll come back and we had gone kind of back and forth on this. So obviously Nick Hill, you know, Nick Hill in Arizona.
Of course. Yeah. I'm going to get him on here soon. Yep.
Mr. 421.
Yeah. Just the record. Yeah. I don't know him.
And, you know, we had gone back and forth on that, but we ended up landing with, the second up or lower body day being on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Because Friday is again short excel, heavy 1080, grind it out. It's not going to put them, you know, in jeopardy. You're good. And then
good to go.
Obviously Saturday's 3-step. So, but
good to go.
Yeah, so with the strength LVP, you know, guys that test too slow will train fast. Guys that test too fast, which is a thing, usually means you're not that strong.
Not strong enough. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not strong enough. Guys that test too fast will train slow. And by slow, I mean heavy. Like, obviously we're never trying to move anything slow, but by nature of you got to go above your OPR, you know, some of those guys will be hitting 130%, you know, OPR. That's going to be heavy. You're going to move slow, just by nature of the load. And then guys that are right in that sweet spot where they should be max power, we'll just try to take the roof off, right? Yeah. We'll just try to increase output, try to move a little more weight at that speed, or that weight at a little faster. Just try to take the roof off. So there's really 3 camps of loading.
And so obviously, like, you guys at EXOS have tons of Kaiser units. Is that your main, like, loading? Are you guys back squatting? You guys deadlifting? Like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
We are doing all of those things. For me, why I like the Kaiser squat is, and I say it's like impossible to hurt yourself on. Ironically, I actually tweaked my pec on the Kaiser squat. I'm like, hey,
you must have been going hard.
Of all friggin' pec. Well, I was bombing my eccentric because the force plate told me I needed to bomb my eccentric and turn it around. So that's what I was doing. But tough to hurt somebody on a Kaiser squat. And also you get insane metrics. So it's easy for me to like really, really dial it in, you know, versus maybe a trap bar deadlift or whatever. Even if you do get a velo on it, you know, you're not getting the depth of metrics you are. But we do that too. I mean, we'll squat, we'll deadlift, we'll do, you know, barbell movements, trap bar movements. But for me, I love the Kaiser squat, and for EXOS in general, Kaiser squat, because it's safe and the metrics you get are pretty deep.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so weight room, clear. Upper body, obviously, we don't need to touch on it. Like we're
I
we're
mean, you
speed
can't.
guys.
I mean,
Nah, I know you guys do some cool stuff upper body
I
wise
will
too.
say
Yeah.
this though. I will say this. So I'll be brief. The 225. All right, I get it. It doesn't matter. Like whatever. The biggest thing I've learned about combine 225 is pacing.
Yeah.
It's pacing. It's not. I mean, obviously strength helps, right? Endurance helps, but it's pacing. Like I literally can do 5 reps more or 5 reps less as I'm sitting here just off of my pacing. If I go a little too slow or a little too fast, finding that exact right pacing.
What's your PR? It look like you can get about 28, 30.
30 is my PR. Yeah. And literally
I got 24.
Yeah. And I was stuck at like mid 20s for the longest, and I didn't get any stronger. Like I didn't increase my 1RM. I just played with my pacing, you know? So we have a strength day and a speed day, kind of like West Side, in a way, a heavy day. It's not max effort necessarily, but a heavy day and a speed day. And on that speed day, that's where guys get a chance to really dial in their pacing. So they'll do, you know, obviously speed bench, find their pacing, which is fast, you know, and we had in the past done big bench Saturday. That's what Saturday used to be until this year, until we switched it to starts. It had been big bench Saturday, but now we kind of combine that with the Thursday bench. So now which I like because you do speed bench, you get a chance to find your pacing. And then you do 1 or 2 sets of 1 or 2 high rep sets, and you get to use that speed, right?
Yeah.
Find that tempo. Yeah. But anyway, long story short, man, I went from 25 to 30 literally just off of pacing and speed. Like, no, I didn't get any stronger. So anyway, that's my note on the 225.
I love that. Okay. All right. Switching gears. We're going back to speed. All right, you got your late Excel day Monday, you got your max V day Wednesday, you got your early Excel day Friday, and you got starts on Saturday.
Correct.
Incredible mix.
Tuesday, Thursday, obviously change of direction.
Yeah, COD. And like I'm assuming those are like lower in terms of like intensity and they're
yeah. I mean, it's like the agility drills are a dance. You know,
literally,
like they're a dance. Like I've seen dudes that were not great athletes run really good agility times because their steps were so on point that
literally
you couldn't find a flaw and you'll get a good time. It's literally a ballroom dance as much as it is an agility test. So you can always, I tell guys, dude, you can rehearse these steps in your hotel room, you know,
literally
just jogging back and forth. I mean, it doesn't even need to be full. Like, obviously, in order to hit the right number of steps in the actual event, you got to be moving because you got to cover ground. But the turns, like, dude, you could just jog back and forth and do that. I mean, you could practice that all day.
Quick pause here. I want to talk about the universal speed rating. So many coaches I meet are just overwhelmed. They're running sessions, programming, dealing with parents, and trying to prove their athletes are actually getting faster. One of the reasons why we built USR was to take some of this stress off the table. One software solution to help coaches test, track, and show improvement without adding hours to your week. If you feel like you're guessing with your speed training or trying to make sense of your data, hit the link in the description. Schedule a free consult and see how the USR can help. It's simple. I started throwing it at the end of even my speed days. Hey, hit 2 reps real quick. You already warmed up. You're already running fast. Like hit 2 reps at the end of the session. I started doing it more often. Like couple reps here, couple reps there.
Yeah. If you nail your steps, you're good, man.
I love that. All right. So let's go a little bit into the speed. And just for context, like our audience is coaches, a lot of speed labs, a lot of people that are into combine training, things like that. So like session design is a extremely like important factor for a lot of coaches. And I feel like industry has a relatively similar structure to everything. You got something before pre-session, some type of warm up, some type of potentiation, some type of drill, some type of work.
Yep.
I want to know how you design your session flow and how it flows. You pack a lot in an hour. You got 50 guys, like you're rolling through. So how does that look?
So like I said, the soft tissue mobility, all of that, like the focused stuff where you're trying to increase your ankle mobility and I'm trying to increase my hip external rotation, because that's what the PT said, that's taking place outside of that hour. So when that hour starts, we're doing movement prep. So we're doing, dynamic flexibility and all of that. Then we're going into, as you mentioned, like drills. So like A skips, switches, bounding, like, it's honestly the same stuff that we did that almost everyone does, right? Wall drill. I do it on the prowlers, like, you used to do. But, well, at that point you can do some band resisted marches and skips and bounds and stuff too, but it's not rocket science. It's really the execution, because
how much time do you spend there? 10 minutes, 5 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, initially more, early on more, because some guys don't know it, right? Some guys don't know it. Some guys have never done it. I got a couple guys right now that reported early because their teams aren't in bowl games, had never done wall drill in their lives, not once. Which is fine, which is great. But it's kind of surprising now with the amount of information out there that like they hadn't, but so anyway, long story short, early on, more time because you're talking more, teaching more, but hopefully eventually, you're just able to bang that out because guys know it. You just throw them a few cues and then you're on to the next thing. So 10, 15 minutes, and hopefully you're spending. So I'll say this, the piece that changes a little bit in the flow is like with my normal groups, like my NFL guys, because there aren't jumps as part of their like testing protocol. So like the combine guys, right? You got to get them better at vert. You got to get them better at broad jump. So they got to do those things, right? Like, so we don't necessarily jump as much in the movement session, in combine, because the jump volume comes from practicing those tests, or in the weight room, complexing depth jumps with your Kaiser squat, or complexing broad jump with trap bar or something like that. So you're getting your jump volume more there. Whereas like, with my pro guys, we might on a max V day do like single leg hops over hurdles and stuff like that, and we'll do that too with combine guys. But like that's one thing that the jump volume comes more from practicing and trying to get jumps that translate to the actual tests. But obviously, it doesn't sound like a super long session, but the volume is pretty low. The recovery is pretty high. And so there's plenty of time to get everything in. So anyway, after your warm up, after your technical work, you would go into some type of, typically depends on the day, right? If I'm trying to get true times, on that day, after the technical work, we'll get some times. If it is just a training session, we might go into the 1080 first and then the free sprints, or we might complex it. Hey, hit a rep at 1080, then come over here and hit a free sprint. It just depends on like what we're trying to do that day.
Yeah. And you guys use Brower, you guys use Vald. What do you guys use?
So as a company, we use Brower. We had, again, so we're kind of unique in Plano. We're part of Andrews Institute, or we're in an Andrews Institute. We're not part of Andrews Institute.
Yeah.
So we, like, our PTs work for the hospital, or it's a sports medicine clinic. I mean, Dr. James Andrews, legendary surgeon. So our sports science team, so Lucy and her team work for the hospital, not EXOS.
Okay. Yeah.
So they obviously I consider them a part of my team, and obviously they are tremendous assets, but technically that's not EXOS. So I bring that up to say that they have smart speed. I like smart speed. In the past, I've used smart speed a ton. I like it mainly because of the data dump. Like, I don't have to keep track of times because they'll be there, right? All I got to do is line them up in the order that their names are on the queue and have them run. And I don't know, there's no intern there with a clipboard, and you know what I mean? So I like that aspect. But as a company, we use Brower. So I use Brower just so that it's apples to apples.
Nice. So and you guys do hand start, or do you do like the box on the ground? Or
with Brower, we do coach hand start.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay. And then, like, so how do you keep track of your times and everything? Like, do you guys do?
Yeah. I mean,
write them down?
With Brower, write them down. I mean, we have a dashboard called Bear Cognition, that it's kind of our data hub. So that's where the Hawken data will go. That's where the Kaiser data will go. The PT eval will go in there. The nutrition, obviously we haven't spoke about nutrition yet, but that's a piece that'll go in there. And so you'll have a profile in there where I can go and look up Les, and it'll tell me, his PT needs. It'll tell me his force plate needs and so forth and so on. So that's where it'll end up those times. But yeah, initially, I mean, you either bring your laptop out there, or you write it down on a piece of paper, or I have nightmares about it. Like we'll definitely be pen and paper this year, because actually Brent was cool about it, but I actually lost some data last year. I brought my laptop out there and, whatever, swiped the wrong way and closed a window when I shouldn't have. God. And I was he was like, Sal, he's like, Sal, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't know it's here somewhere, but we're going to write everything down, everything down. And then we'll worry about inputting it.
I love that. So how many, like, in an hour, you're probably getting 4-5 time reps max in a session.
That's it. Two to three resisted and 2 to 3 free, but as you know, it's maximal intensity unless dictated otherwise, right? Like some of our max V stuff, especially early on, won't be max intensity.
Yeah.
Because you're technical and obviously like some of those guys, especially like the big guys, haven't run that far before or that fast before. And so like the last thing, you're going to come out there and hit them with a bunch of max V volume early on. Now, eventually they'll have to if they're planning on running the 40, but early on, no. So we'll do wickets and we'll do wickets at distances that like, are more kind of like a step over run. Moving forward and more technical stuff. So that piece will be sub max. But for the most part, man, you got to go get it because, high intensity, all out.
Yep. No, I love that. I had a question and I just forgot it, but I do have another one. So this process is different for everybody. Like you got your guys that come January 20th, or I guess this year 21st is the championship, which means you don't see them until the 23rd. The combine starts February 25 this year, I think.
Yeah, it's early.
So it's like you got a month. Yeah, you got a month, right? And let's say the guy's like, I'm running a 40. And then you got another guy that's been there since November and they're in the same group. How do you do it? How do you manage it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess too, the question is like, you got some pro day guys in there. You got some combine guys in there. You got some guys that like last year we had Abdul Carter who wasn't going to do. I mean, he said he was, and I love him, but like he wasn't going to do anything. Right.
Right.
And they're all in the same group. We typically, so like a guy that that is training for pro day. So he maybe he's not even invited to the combine, or let's say he is. And like you said, we just know he's not going to run. I mean, they'll train very similarly. The only difference is those other guys won't taper, you know?
Okay.
But like, so up to that point, the training will look very, very similar. But when you go to taper, I'm going to continue to lift heavy and do the things that I need to do, right? Because I'm looking still 3 weeks out or whatever it is.
Yeah. And what about the guys that come super late and they're put in the group and one guy's on week 5, you're on week 1?
Yeah. Priority number 1 is obviously get them healthy, because usually those guys, like we had 8 Texas guys last year, and every single one of them except for one had some kind of problem, just because they played so much football, right?
They did play a lot of football.
Yeah. So priority number 1 is get them healthy, and then see where they're at, and then at that point see how much time you have. Because typically you're not going to get a dude on January 28th that's fresh and ready to go and can just jump right in and do everything, right? So we'll have to modify it. And that's the advantage of having 2 coaches out there at all times. So like, whether it was me and Brent last year or whether it's me and Jimmy this year, you've got 50 some guys, but you've got 4 groups, right? So you're already down to 12 guys, and now you got 2 coaches. So now you're down to 6 guys. So it's not that hard to be like, hey man, like, I know these guys are running a flying 20 plus 20. Why don't you just, come over here? We have these wickets set up. Why don't you just take 2 or 3 reps through that instead? So there's always a modification or a regression that we're not afraid to make. And I'll be honest too, like, I don't have the leash health wise that Brent did, because Brent had been with EXOS 16 years, right? Brent pops somebody's hammy and it's all good. I pop somebody's hammy, it's going to be World War III, right? So while riding the lightning and knowing that, hey, no, these guys got to be right on the edges. I got to be smart and I got to be err on the side of caution. So, obviously all the metrics we have, still one thing that comes in handy is the old school, hey, how you feeling today?
Right.
Oh man, my hamstring is a little tight. Okay, let me know how it feels after warm up. Still a little tight. Okay, take this first one 80%. I still feel it. Okay, you're good.
Are you guys doing any wellness or any like data collection on that wellness side, or doing force plate weekly? Or
great question. We do force plate weekly. Yeah, we do force plate weekly. We did Nordboard weekly last year when we were with Vald, but now we're not with Vald anymore. So we have a Kaiser hamstring test that we'll use instead. That we'll do weekly as well. So that would be our wellness. We don't have a questionnaire or anything like that. But obviously that's always something to be conscious of, just building rapport and talking to guys and how'd you sleep last night? Like, you look tired, like you feeling good, like everything all right, because that's information too, right? That's, force plate, Kaiser, but like, that verbal communication and that those relationships, I mean, that's information too. And you got to be, as you know, an information sponge. And I might see something, you may say you feel great, but I noticed that, like, after we did these, straight leg shuffle and straight leg bound, you were, flexing your knee and rubbing your hamstring or something like, man, what's up? I noticed you're kind of touching yourself over there. I'm a little tight. Oh, good. Yeah. Good to know,
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. When you guys are like tapering and you're coming down from your peak volume, what's your taper like? What's your, from highest volume to combine? What's that process like?
Yeah. I mean, so obviously the intensity will stay high, but the volume will come down, and the volume is honestly like never really that high to begin with. So I mean, like even if you do the math in a given day, you know, let's say we're doing the most we would ever do would be maybe 3 30-yard 1080s, and then like 3 flying 20s with like a 20 or 30-yard run in. You know, so whatever that adds up, that would be like a high volume day, you know, and then come down from that to maybe one of each, you know, or maybe no 1080 and it's just 1 flying 20 or something like that, you know. But the intensity will stay up. And then obviously, you know, 10 days out or so, we won't go, the distance will start coming down, you know, so that you can still get that stimulus, that output, without the velocities towards the end.
Have you guys played around with any assisted running?
So I guess, so there's combine and then there's like my pro guys. So I haven't, last year we did a little bit of assisted running with some combine guys. I initially don't plan to this year. Where I love the assisted is decel work. I'm nuts for assisted decel work. Like, and I guess assisted decel work would really be like the opposite. It'd be overloaded decel work, right? So like, and Kyle, we spoke about Kyle earlier. Kyle put me on this. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, crank it up heavy as hell and have them just like lunge walk, like kind of back towards the machine. And dude, we started doing that. And then obviously we'll lighten it up and then we'll jog towards the machine and then we'll lighten it up some more and run towards the machine. So like, and then this is not the combine guys. These are my pro guys on like a linear decel day. But I've seen incredible results from improving guys' breaks from that. And Kyle said that he had gotten guys up to like 60 kilos on the assisted walking like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, because anything over 30, my guys look like a fish on a hook, man.
Yeah.
So I guess we're not there yet, but but assisted work, like, dude, I'm nuts for the assisted or over, in that case, overloaded, pulled towards the machine decel work.
Yeah. That's dope. Yeah, we implemented our first, we've done a lot of the assisted decel stuff, which has been great. But we implemented some assisted sprint acceleration stuff, and doing assistance on even acceleration days, doing assistance on high speed days towards the end. And like, dude, if you ever play around with it, just thank me later and you might get a record. Like it's
it
insane.
Makes sense. You know what makes sense especially on the max B day, you know, because like really is like 3 kilos or 4 kilos. Is that really going to move the needle? You know, in fact, JB,
it does. Yeah.
You know, but and I actually misspoke. Wednesday, we don't do 10% VDEC. We do need based.
Oh yeah.
So whatever your need is, right? So you're going to get 20 to 30 for sure. You're going to get 50 plus for sure. And then you're going to get whatever you need, which could be 50 again. It could be 20 to 30 again, or it could be light, but the light could easily become assisted. You know, I'll have to play with that myself, you know,
try it.
I test everything out, myself first. Like I've been through this combine program. This is like my 3rd time through. So like, you know, and, but I need to, I'll test it out on myself.
Yeah, assisted dribbles, then assisted runs, and then assisted excels into a run. Like, so we'll do assisted like dribbles at like 3 to 4 kg, maybe get to 5 kg, and then we'll do assisted runs where it's like 3 kg, 4 kg, but you're running into it. And then we'll do accommodating descending from 6 to 1. So it'll basically pull them really hard at the beginning and then drop off, and they're running normal by the end.
Yeah, that's beautiful. They can try to carry the momentum that they've got without help.
Dude, it was insane. So we had guys that couldn't break like 22.5 that started to run 23 without assistance.
That's wild.
But they were running 23-3, 23-4 with assistance. And then they started running 23 flat with no assistance. And then they ran 4-3. And then they ran 4-4. And these were 4-6 guys, 4-7, 4-6-8 guys to 4-3-9 guys. Like, it was insane. No, I love it, man. There's a lot. It's crazy. Obviously, like, we come from similar research backgrounds in terms of what we're studying, but like in terms of the output, it's very similar. Very similar.
JB just posted on, was it today or yesterday or something, about that new, resistance study, saying how effective, which we both like, we use heavy resisted sprinting,
Yeah.
That used to be so taboo, but I think guys have, it's caught on more, than it used to. But I think, to me, like, the real thing is knowing what the right load is. Cause, like, you wouldn't go in the weight room and tell everyone to squat 315, right? And that's where, like, people always, oh, well, what's VDEC? Well, it's going to be different for you than it is me, right? Like, the 20 kilos might slow me down, and it might take 30 to slow you down,
Yeah. Do you guys drop the 50 like towards the end, or you guys keep rolling, or how does that work?
No, we'll keep it. Yeah, we'll keep it. Cause that's, I get that like specificity wise, like, that's not super fast, but to me, that's your first 3 steps velo.
Yeah.
Right. That's your first 3 steps velo. So, like, after 3 steps, I'm trying to hit whatever it is I'm trying to hit for that 50 to 60 VDEC, miles per hour wise. So to me, it has transfer. And to me, I like it because it's so safe. It's so safe. Is. Like, you would think, like, dude, like, oh my God, like, these guys, look how hard they're working. It's so safe. You could take a guy, and if Savannah, if you're listening, I'm not saying that I'm going to do this, but, like, you could take a guy with a grade 1 hammy and put him at 60% VDEC, and he can sprint 10 yards.
I've done it a ton.
Yeah. Like, they're not gonna hurt themselves at that resistance because of the angles, because of the velocity that they're moving at. It is so freaking
it's
safe.
Concentric based. Yeah, for sure.
It's insane. It's insanely safe. You know what I mean? So, I love the heavy loads.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me a little bit about, like, I know about Lucy, Savannah. Who else you got on her team?
Jimmy. Yeah, so Jimmy came from Arizona. He's a dog, man. Like, he's a dude. Like, he's the nicest dude. Like, and I get that this isn't really, like, this is more personality, right, than it is, like, science. But, like, he's that dude that, like, the nicest dude in the world when you meet him. But, like, if we were to get in a street fight, or I was in an alley and getting jumped, this dude would come in from the top rope and have my back. You know what I mean? And, like, that's the type of people I want to be around, man.
Yeah, I feel that.
So he's a freaking dog, man. So I love that dude. So yeah. So Lucy, Savannah, Jamie, and then nutrition wise, our nutritionist Noel is actually moving on. So we're actually bringing in. Actually looking to hire somebody currently, but we have a contractor that we're bringing in for combine.
Nice. I know your wife does nutrition too, right?
Yeah, for
your
a rival company. Yeah.
We're not doing that. So, hey, EXOS people are gonna be pissed off. We don't play sides. Everybody's cool in this industry.
Everybody's cool. That's right.
Everybody's cool.
We're all cool. Yeah. We're all cool. We can all win.
Hey, look, there's enough athletes. If you're not getting them, get your studies up. Because this shit is a layup if you do it right.